Hi, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily, and this is a podcast all about my making life. And I'm so happy to have you joining me on this very first day of October, the very best month of the year, in my opinion. I love October, I love fall, and I'm so happy to be here. Yay! So you can find me as Salt City Knits on Ravelry. You can find me as Salt City Knits and Yarnbrary on Instagram, and you can find my patterns and yarn also on yarnbrary.com. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about a life update, and then we're going to talk about the new make-along that is starting today, and some finished objects, a little bit of chat about upcoming works in progress, and some book talk, as well as shop news. So there's plenty to talk about today. So let's start with life update. We have now wrapped up finally our last Heroic Youth event. Actually, I have a dinner tonight, but that is our last Heroic Youth event for the year. And then we have the rest of this week off and all of the next week off. And then halfway through the next week, we have our big planning retreat where we start working on all our plans for next year. So we call this Summitcation, but it's not really much of a vacation. We don't really have much of a break off, but it's exciting always when we're planning for the new year. It's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see what else is going on. My youngest, Abby, is hopefully getting her driver's license this week. I can't believe that my baby is about to have her driver's license. That's crazy. It's kind of like this liberating moment. I remember when we finished potty training her, my youngest child potty trained, and I thought, I will never have to be the parent of a child in diapers again. And this is even better than that. Freedom. But it's just kind of crazy that she's so grown up. So that's coming up this week. We're having a big birthday party this week. For me, my birthday is not this week, but it's the day that works to celebrate it with our friends and family. So we're going to be doing that on Friday. And also our knit night is tomorrow night. And that is the one where we do our secret project swap. So when I am done recording this podcast, I'm actually going to record a video about the project that I'm making. I'm not going to release it in this podcast, but I'm going to, hold on to it so I can release it after I've given the gift, so that you'll be able to see it, because I think it's beautiful. So I'm excited to share that with you. Yeah, that's the main stuff that's going on. And so let's talk about the new make-along. So I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago that Kelly Lay from Lay Family Yarn and I are co-hosting a make-along, and it's going to run for the months of October and November. And this make-along is called Friends That Craft Together. So it's for any kind of fiber crafting that you would like to do: knitting, crocheting, weaving, spinning, whatever it is that you want to do. But the idea is to use your precious little bits that you've been saving. So whether that's a precious skein you've had in your stash for a long time, and it's those ones that you're always like, oh no, I gotta save it for just the right thing. But the right thing never quite turns up, right? So we want to use those and enjoy them and take them to the next stage in their existence, right? Take them to something that you can be really enjoying to work with and to use. So that will run October and November, and you can participate in that make-along by either sharing on the Ravelry thread that Kelly is going to be setting up. I don't know if she set it up quite yet. If so, I will put the link in the description box below. If it's not set up quite yet, I will make sure to mention it next time. And of course, you can go over to Kelly's YouTube channel as well, and she'll be talking about that. You can either do that, enter through sharing in Ravelry, or by posting on Instagram with a photo of your project and using the hashtag Friends That Craft Together, MAL, make along. And make sure if you are posting that to tag both Kelly and I in it so that we see it. We will be drawing some prizes, at least a monthly prize in October and a monthly prize in November. We're still working out the last little bits of details, but this make along partially was inspired by just that desire to connect with our crafting friends. And so sharing our projects is so much of that connection that we do. And yeah, we're really excited to be hosting that together. So whips totally count. You don't have to finish in order to be entered. And you can totally double dip in any other project that or make along that you want to participate in. For example, if you are doing Stephen West's mystery knit along this month, that you're gonna pull in one of your precious skeins for that would totally count. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can totally participate in multiple things. Anything else I need to say about that? Nothing that I can think of right now. So make sure to join us, though. I'm excited to be hosting that with Kelly, who is just a delight. Let's talk about finished objects. And I'm going to start out with this one. Any of you who have been watching for a while know I started this sweater, and I know you can't see it very well. I'll put some video in of me full body wearing it. But I started this cardigan. I don't even actually remember exactly when. I think it was just at the beginning of the year. I don't know if it was January, if it was March. I don't remember exactly, but it was earlier this year. And then lots of other things kind of took my interest for a while, and working on designs that I was trying to finish the samples for and different things like that. And then it was summer and it just hibernated for a long time. In fact, I have right over here by my knitting chair, I have my whips basket, and I had even taken it out of my whips basket and took it down to my sewing room for a while. And then I started daydreaming about casting on a new sweater. And I remembered, I'm not going to cast on another sweater until I finish this one. So I used a Dandelion and Dogwood advent calendar from, I think it was 2022, for all of the stripes. And then this color right here and this yarn right here, there were minis of these colors in the advent calendar. And I loved them so much that I contacted Jen and Amy and asked them to dye up full skeins in those. And I know this one is called, I think this one's called Lady Greville, but I don't remember what this one's called. They're all based on roses. And I think mostly David Austin roses, although I know one of them, this one right here, I'm sitting on the hem. This really variegated one right here at the bottom was based on a rose that my sister has in her garden. I think it's called Rockstar. I could be wrong, but it's almost a candy stripe, red and white. So just to give you an idea, this is how I striped it in. And I used the Magnolia Cardigan by Hobbi Locatelli with some adjustments for the body. In fact, I think the only main adjustments I made to it, there's two adjustments that I made. One, in the original cardigan, there's a garter texture across the shoulders, up to about right here, front and back. And I just removed that. And then the second one is I added some body shaping. I always like my sweaters to have an A-line shape because I'm shaped that way. So I added increases in the side seams once I had separated for the arms, for the sleeves, and then I just added some increases every few rows on either side of a marker down the side seams just to give me an A-line shape. That is a very common alteration that I make to almost every cardigan that I make myself. I think that it turned out, it fits me exactly how I would want it to. The sleeves are the perfect fit. Like, they are perfect. They're the perfect length. They're the perfect width. I love the length of the body. I just love everything about it. So I did add those 2 extra full skeins in. I had about half of this one left over. All I did with this one was the ribbing. I did the ribbing at the bottom of the sweater in that color, but I had the 20-gram mini. There's hair. So I actually had 120 grams of this colorway because I had the mini as well as the rest of the yarn. In fact, I'm looking to see if I have this colorway anywhere else, and I don't see it. I wonder what I did with that. I don't think I included that one anywhere in the sweater. Interesting. But yeah, I did the bottom ribbing, the ribbing all around the neckband, which I have chosen to not put buttons or buttonholes in. I just plan on wearing this open. And then the cuff of the sleeve I did in this colorway. And then I just did just the sleeves in this one. And I used probably 85-ish grams for the sleeves. And then the rest was all those mini skeins. And I just think it's really neat how much sweater I got from an advent calendar, because I am knitting the largest size in this cardigan, plus added increases for that A-line shaping that I wanted. And I also knit it fairly long. In fact, here's that video now, so you can see the fit of it and that longer length. And I got that all out of an advent calendar plus 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. So when you are plus size, it is always a challenge to figure out how much yarn you're gonna need. I look at some of you who are knitting cardigans and sweaters in 2 and 3 skeins, and that is not my experience, you know. So it's just neat to be able to do this. I really love this. I knit a scrappy sweater for my daughter Aria once, and she loves it and wears it all the time. And it actually has got a lot of similar color palette, but it has some blues, I think, and maybe even some greens added in with it as well. But she says that is her very favorite sweater, and she just wears it all the time. And so it's kind of fun to have this one. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed the pattern, but I enjoy everything that Hobbi designs. She writes beautiful patterns, and I find that they fit really nicely. So I'm really happy with this. And now I'm going to take it off because it is too warm to be wearing a cardigan. Especially here sitting in the windows with the sun pouring in on me. Oh, but it's pretty. Here's the back. It's really fun. You know, I've talked so many times about pinks and golds and pinks and yellows, so it's a great combination. I did try, I mean, I striped and combined things, but I did generally go from lighter colors to darker colors in that color progression. And there were a couple of mini skeins that I left out. I was originally going to leave this one out because it's so variegated, but in the end, I just decided I wanted it in, especially since, like I said, it was based on my sister's roses. So I've added it in, and I'm very happy with it. All right, next up, I am super excited to finally be showing you the yarn and the patterns for my Anne and Gilbert socks. I told you that I would show those to you. They've shipped out, I don't know, some time ago, and everybody should have received them. If you did not receive yours yet, for some crazy reason, please just, you're gonna have to look away. but I am going, in fact, just turn this video off now and watch it later after you get your set. So first up, this is the pattern for the Anne socks, the Anne Shirley socks. And here you go. I love how these turned out so much. I think they are beautiful socks. I love this little lacy pattern here. And then the fun braided cable that goes down the front. It made me think of Anne's braids. I just love it. I think it's so beautiful. I knit this sample in my Alcott colorway, my biography sock base, which is just dreamy. Aren't those fun? And then I've got this fun texture on the back of the sock. And I just love how these turned out. I think they are beautiful. So that is the Anne Shirley pattern. Aren't they pretty? And then here is what the yarn looks like. And my goal for this was autumnal, but soft and feminine. And that mini skein is probably one of my favorite colors we've ever dyed. I absolutely love it. So I'm really, really happy with that set. I think it just is everything I would want it to be. Yeah, I'm thrilled. So here is the Gilbert set. So I knit this sample in my 1000 Magical Herbs and Fungi. And here is the Gilbert pattern. So it's got a column of textured stitches here. And then these little alternating staggered cables down the front. And then a plain back to the sock. Yeah, I love how that turned out as well. And both of these patterns are in 4 different sizes. They go from 60 stitch to 72 stitch, which is a small, a medium, a large, and an extra large size. And I like how they work together. They're very similar in their construction and in their layout, where they each have this center front panel with some form of cables. They each have some form of texture, but one is much more feminine than the other. So they definitely look like they're meant to be friends, right? And I'm just thrilled with how they turned out. I love them. So those are the socks. Oh, and this is the yarn for Gilbert Blythe. And this yarn is the more masculine version of an autumnal color palette. And I just think it's beautiful and rich and yeah, absolutely beautiful. I love it. So I'm thrilled with that one as well. So I hope that those of you who ordered those kits, there were so many of you, and I just really appreciate you being excited along with me for these kits, and I hope that you're really enjoying them. I don't know how many of you have, I know some of you have already started on them. I've had some pictures and so on from a few of you showing me your socks in progress, and it's just delightful. But I know some of you might have been saving them for Socktober. So very fun. All right, next up. Oh, and for those patterns, I will be publishing both of those patterns on Ravelry and on my website shortly. I will announce that next time, but they will be coming up very soon here. So, all right, my next finished object is, you guessed it, Christmas socks. I finished this pair. And these are going to be for my son, Ethan. So you all kind of gave me feedback. Some of you said red for the heel. Some of you said green for the heel. In the end, I decided to do the green because I wanted to have just enough red to go with one other pair of socks for at least a heel or a toe or a cuff. And so I saved that last little bit of red. So I added in the green, and these haven't been blocked. They, of course, will look nicer blocked, but I still think they look really great. And I don't have the yarn label right here with me. This was called Yule log, I believe. I will post a link in the description box below for the yarn here. But this red and this green are my Christie and my Tolkien colorways on contemporary sock. Yes, contemporary sock. So I really like those. So that means I have finished 5 pair. You would think I would have finished 6 pair. So I have to tell you a sad story with a tragic ending. So last time I showed the other pair of Christmas socks that I was working on, which were a pair knit in Hobbi Christmas sock wool, something like that. And it was the third of 3 skeins that I had purchased together. So I talked about it last time. I was to the point where I had finished the first sock entirely. I was using Mayflower First Class for the cuff and the toe. And I finished the first sock. I knit the cuff for the second sock. And then I started knitting. And in fact, I'm going to put a video right here that I sent to some friends of mine to show the problem with this yarn. So watch that video. So this is the first sock that I knit. I used a contrasting color for the cuff and the toe. And so you can see the pattern. Light green, light, a little bit of white, light, dark white. I said light green. Light, dark white, white, light, dark white, white, etc. Right? All the way down the sock. Then I start knitting the second sock with the same skein of yarn, same end, and this is what I get. Look at that. It's crap. There's no red in the entire part. There's huge chunks with a huge chunk of white. And then look at this here and there. It's crap. At this point, I'm knitting them because they'll be a wearable pair of socks, but they're not going to be a Christmas present. One of my kids might like them for just extra socks, but garbage. So yeah, I went back and forth trying to decide what I was going to do with it. And I started winding. I had knit so much of that second sock and hated it. And so I started winding it off into a ball to see if I could find maybe where the color repeats would shift. And then this is what happened. Okay, I ended up unraveling this back to here because I found that the end of this skein goes back to the original striping pattern. However, not at the other end of this ball was a knot, and there's 3 knots in here. That's 5 knots so far. So I am unraveling this entire pair of socks. I'm done with it. I am not knitting this. This is just ridiculous. And it's not just knots, but the entire sequence of the pattern changes every time there's a knot. So 5 knots means a total of 6, a total of 6 different places that the color sequence starts, or in this case, doesn't start over again. So this is going bye-bye. So the end of that story, the tragic end of that story, is that I was so mad. And I knew I was never going to use that yarn for anything else. I threw it in the garbage. I threw the finished sock in the garbage. I threw all of it in the garbage. So I know some of you are probably gasping in disbelief right now, but it felt great. I have no regrets of throwing that away. good riddance. That's all I have to say. It's really sad because I have used quite a bit of yarn from Hobbi and never had that problem before. But when I was talking to my friend Margaret, she said that she and our other friend Sina had ordered some Halloween yarn, sock yarn from Hobbi. And Margaret's skein was totally fine, but Sina's did almost the identical thing where it was just knot after knot after knot after knot. And every time they got to a knot, it would start over or be in a completely different place in the color progression, which means you can't really use it. I mean, if you're winding it off into little balls and trying to match color progressions, obviously it's not going to work. And I totally am fine with socks that aren't 100% matching, but they have to look like they go together. And those didn't even look like they went together. Other than being generally the same colors, not exactly the same colors because of all those like weird faded bits, they didn't look anything alike at all, nothing alike. So no way, no way. It's very, very inexpensive yarn. And I totally get that. But to me, there's no point in even making an inexpensive product if it is complete trash. Like you can't even, like it's not usable in my mind. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe if you were going to knit some crazy hats or mittens, something where you weren't going to make two of anything, you were just going to make one item. But I just don't think that would be cute in that. So I don't know. Not a fan at all. And so I am now down a whole set of yarn because I had all the yarn planned out for these 10 pair of socks. And now I'm down one set. So I'll need to figure that out. But in the meantime, bye-bye. So now here's the next piece. The other thing that I had as my work in progress was my grandson's little sweater vest. And I also came to some sad conclusions about that. All right, the lighting continues to be horrible in here. But here is the sweater vest. Oh, the lighting's so bad. And as I'm looking at it, these armholes are enormous. They're like adult size armholes. They're just huge. There is no way that this shaping is going to work for my little guy. He is just a little tiny guy. He's going to, he can fit his whole body through that armhole. It's just not going to work. So I have battled and battled with this pattern, and I'm to the point where I'm done with this one as well. So I am going to frog this one. And I am going to use the same yarn. The yarn, gorgeous. Love this color. And I am going to find a different sweater vest pattern to knit for my little monkey. Because, yeah, this is just, it's huge. It's just massive. So, second thing to frog. So I did frog that entire vest. It is completely back into a ball. And I've been looking for patterns and I'm not really finding any fingering weight sweater vests that would be in his size that I like. There's the one by Petite Knit, Moby. Is it Moby? I think it's Moby. That is darling. I'm gonna have to look again. The baby size goes to 12 months, which I think it will be too small for my grandson. But I believe there is a children's sized version of that pattern. So I'll do some research on that one. The only thing I don't really love about that one is it's a round neck. And I just think a V-neck is just so much cuter. But it's okay. It's going to wait for a little bit. And the reason that I'm letting those things wait is because in 2 days, the Mystery Knit Along is starting up. So I wanted to show you my yarn. So this will be my third year in a row participating in Stephen West's mystery knit along for his shawl, mystery shawl. And I just realized these are all upside down in my basket. So I gotta fix them. I don't remember how much I've talked about this in the past. I may have already told this story, so I apologize. But I remember watching Danny from Little Bobbins make her exploration station, or at least show her exploration station. And then after that was the Doodler. That was the next year. And both of those shawls are gorgeous. They are beautiful. They're interesting, but really wearable, very pretty. And so the next year I decided I was going to participate, and I got the yarn for my birthday. I gave it as a birthday gift to myself because my birthday is at the beginning of October. So it always, fits right along in that same time frame. And I was so excited. I bought the yarn, I got the pattern, and it was the building blocks year. And I think that is I'm sorry. I dislike that shawl so much. I knit all of the first week's clue. And then the second week's clue was just do more of the same. And I thought, I am not going to like this. It's a weird shape. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. I just really didn't like it. So I chose not to do that. I unraveled what I had done. I still have the yarn for it, by the way, which I think is really interesting. I had bought some Wonderland yarns for it. And I just didn't do it. And then I just never participated again for a long time. Well, then I started noticing his mystery knit along shawls were all gorgeous again. And I remember seeing Snowflake. And then after that was, I can never remember the name of the shawl, but I think it's so pretty. It's the one before Shawlography. Oh, anyway, I can't think of it right now. But they were back to this beautiful crescent kind of shape and just really beautiful and intricate. And so then I started thinking maybe I would do it again. So I did knit not Shawlography. I did knit the Starflake shawl, just not during the mystery knit along time frame. And then I have done Twists and Turns and Geo Gradient. And so this year with Go Go Dynamo, I'm nervous. We'll see if it's going to be something I like. But I have determined I really like participating. I feel like if you look back over the mystery knit along shawls, building blocks was different than most of his, because most of his shawls, especially all the ones in probably the last 5-6 years, have had lots and lots of different and new techniques. Whereas building blocks, it's just the same thing. It was just the same thing. So do 5 of those. Now the next clue is like do 8 of those or whatever. I'm just making it up, but the numbers, but it was just the same process through the whole thing. And everything else that he has done is lots of different techniques and so on. So even if, like with the Twists and Turns, the finished shawl is not the thing that I am like the most excited to wear, my daughter has it, she loves it, and I thoroughly loved making it. I had so much fun with it. I learned a ton, and I'm really excited. So this one is called Go Go Dynamo. It's for 2 colors, so you need 2 skeins of each color, and then an optional mohair dare where you can add either a contrasting or a coordinating mohair. So these are the colors that I have chosen to use. So I've got Hugo here, which is this denim-y navy blue. And then I have this color that we dyed, which does not have a name yet, but will most likely end up in our author's line because I think it's a beautiful pink, very soft pink. And then I have this beautiful peachy pink mohair. This is actually our Bronte colorway, just at a really low saturation level. So it's even softer than our normal Bronte. So those are the colors that I'm going to use. And I used this basket for the mystery knit along last year. And so it's going to just kind of be my mystery shawl basket. So I'm really excited about that. I was going back and forth about what colors I wanted to use. And then I thought about it. And navy blue is my black. I almost never wear black, but I wear a lot of navy. It's kind of my neutral. And then, of course, pink. I just love that. And so this pink and this blue together, I think are just gorgeous. And I'm so excited to be working with these colors. I'm using my biography sock base, and then this is my fantasy fluff. And oh, it just is dreamy. So pretty. Look at that color. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. My friend Sina had me dye some mohair, and I did the same color mohair for her. And then I did she had two colors, or she had her one color, two skeins of her one color. And then she had me dye her other two, and they were Poe, which is a dark charcoal gray. And so we did Poe for her, and then we're using the same color mohair for ours. But her colors are like a soft light gray and then a dark charcoal gray. Actually, it's not soft light gray. It's kind of like gray and pink, kind of softly blended yarn, if I remember correctly. It's really pretty. I think it's from Yarn Cafe Creations. So I'm looking forward to that. That starts in 2 days. And I'm, fingers crossed that it's going to be a shawl I'm going to enjoy wearing. But at the very least, I know I will enjoy making it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so that's why I haven't really wanted to cast anything else on right now. So I'm in this weird limbo place because I finished my sweater, I finished those Christmas socks, and then I frogged Adam's vest, and then I threw away the other pair of socks. And so the only thing that I actually have right now, I'm just trying to move some things here, is my granny stripe blanket. Today I went to my Commonwealth class, my daughter's, our homeschool group class. And we were watching a video in our class. And I was like, it's weird how anxious I was feeling because I knew I was going to go sit and watch this video and not have a project. And I didn't want to bring this whole big basket and a blanket. It just felt like it would be distracting. That's the kind of thing that normally I would have socks or something small that I was working on. But I didn't want to cast something new on yet. So it was weird. And it was fine. I'm like, I am capable of surviving without knitting for a couple days. I really will. I'll be okay. I think. Maybe. Oh, we'll see. Next thing you know, I go and cast something new on. If so, it will probably be another pair of Christmas socks. By the way, I don't think I'm doing Christmas socks for everybody again next year. They can wear the ones they've got because it's a lot. All right, so let's talk about books. I was going to do that last time. In fact, I said, we'll have some chat about books. And then I completely forgot and didn't include it. So I wanted to share a couple of recent books that I have read that I really, really, really enjoyed. So first up, I've been watching my friend Gaina's vlogs. So I think I mentioned this already. Gaina, who is been podcasting forever as Tales from Cuckoo Land, and she has also started her lifestyle vlogs on Gaina Jane. So I've really been enjoying that. And she mentioned this book, probably one of her first episodes, back at the beginning of September, maybe even end of August. She talked about the book Coming Home by Rosamund Pilcher. And so it just sounded delightful. And so I picked that up. I actually was listening to that on Audible, and I really, really enjoyed that. It had similar vibes, in my opinion, to like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Very different in many ways, but just kind of had some of the similar feeling to me about it. Meaning that it takes place in a similar time frame. It takes place in a 10-year span from 1935 to 1945. It occurs primarily in Cornwall, very southern tip of England. So you've got the war years. You've also got this atmosphere where the location in and of itself is almost a character in the book. And it follows you've got your main character who's Judith, but you've also got several other characters that you care deeply about and follow their experiences. And it's just beautifully, beautifully written. It's a slow-paced book. It's gentle and slow. There were a lot of times where I felt like it's building to something, but it's a slow build. But it's very evocative, and you feel like you're really there. Like I could picture the clothing that people were wearing very clearly. I felt like I could smell the smells and taste the tastes, and just really be there, which I loved. And you really love these characters. You care so deeply about them, or you get really mad at them, which is also good. So it's just very delightful. And it was so satisfying, beautifully satisfying to read. So I highly recommend that one. So that one was great. And then right after that, I read The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So apparently in England, this same book is called The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And in the US, it's The 7.5, but it's the same book. I thought that was really interesting. It's by Stuart Turton, yeah. And it's got kind of a Agatha Christie feel to it. It's a mystery, like a murder mystery. Typical, you've got a house party and you've got the guests there and there's a murder and somebody trying to solve it. But very, very different too. You learn from the very beginning, like the blurb on the book explains this, so I'm not giving away any big spoilers. But that the character who is telling the story basically wakes up every day doing the same day over and over again, but in the body of a different guest at this party as he's trying to solve this murder. So it was totally fun. Usually reading a murder mystery, I can pretty early on figure out who it is, who did it, the whole thing. But this one, I was guessing till the very end. It had so many twists and turns in it, but not just for like gimmicky sake. Like they were really intriguing and interesting. And I had no idea how they were going to get themselves out of some of these situations. And I also could really enjoy it because it wasn't trashy. It wasn't smutty. There was no terrible language in it. It wasn't super gory, but it was also kind of mysterious and creepy at times. I just loved it. I thought it was a blast to read. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. So I highly recommend. I also listened to that on Audible. I think that would have been an easier one to read in book form than to listen to. There's just a lot of names to keep track of. And at the beginning of the book, there's a description that like basically gives you a cast of characters. And in the Audible version, of course, they just read it one time. Whereas reading it in a paper book, you could go flip back to that cast of characters. So that would be helpful. Anyway, but it was so much fun. So I'm looking for something else. I started another book today called something. Hold on, let me look it up. Okay, I had to look that up. It's called A Stir of Echoes by Richard Matheson. And it so far is reading very kind of Hitchcockian, like Twilight Zone. But I've only been reading it for a little bit. I just started it today. So we'll see how it goes. I heard it described as, as feeling like a Twilight Zone episode. So we shall see. But yeah, it's kind of fun to find some spooky reads, but I am not a horror book. That's not my thing at all. And I don't like a lot of garbage in it. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I want it to be really well written. So to try and find kind kind of those spooky books. I was thinking that maybe I'd want to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I might read some Edgar Allan Poe this month. We'll see. I might read Picture of Dorian Gray. These are all books that I've either started. Yeah, I've started and not finished, or it's been years and years since I've read them. So those are all possibilities as well. All right, let's talk about some shop news. So one thing that is happening for the rest of this week, all of my patterns on Ravelry are on 50% off because I'm celebrating my 50th birthday. So if you have ever wanted to grab any of my shawl patterns, my sock patterns, the garden washcloth, the Alta hat, any of those, cowls, those are all available only on Ravelry for 50% off right now. And you can buy as many as you want or just one, whatever you want is fine. So it's automatically, that discount is taken automatically when you check out. And a lot of you have already found that and purchased patterns, but that will continue on through the rest of this week. So it will end, in fact, it'll end on the 8th. We're going to end it on the 8th. So that is going on right now. I have our, I think, last 4 mystery grab bags available. And then we have restocked Princess Bride colorways, Little House colorways, Jane Austen colorways. So we have made the match myself, and I think I've still got Highbury and Most Ardently, Handsome Enough to Tempt Me. We've got Plum Creek and Wheat Harvest and Prairie Sky and Maple Sugar Party. And then we have Humperdinck and Mowage. You always have to say that one correctly. And Princess Buttercup and As You Wish. Those are all in stock right now. In addition to that, we also have October's Hogwarts Mystery Club listed, and that is the theme for October is the Monster Book of Monsters. So I'm really excited. It's going to be truly an October colorway. So I'm really excited for that one. That's one I've actually held on to for October. I mean, it was at the top of my list when I started making my list of books in the Harry Potter books to put in this club, and that was the first one I wrote down, but it had to be an October color. So that one is coming up. Oh, and here is what September's club looked like. So September, the colorway was inspired by Witch Weekly, and so here it is. And I loved, we had to do a lot of tests to get this really nice black mini skein to go with it. And I love how it turned out. I think it's so fun. I think Rita Skeeter would be proud. So that's what's going on in the shop. And other than that, I think that's everything. I've been trying to decide if I want to do Vlogtober or not. I mean, today is October, so I kind of should make up my mind. I don't think I'm going to do daily vlogs, but I will do some vlogs for October. Maybe weekly, maybe just a few days here and there. But I want to really enjoy, just sink into October as much as I can and kind of decompress a little bit. So I don't want to commit myself to something that I have to do every single day. But I definitely will be sharing my mystery knit-along shawl progress, and next week I'll be showing the secret project that I made for my knitting group. And hopefully I'll share a little bit, maybe some clips from our knitting group with our exchange and so on. So yeah, that is going to be really fun. I hope you also have a wonderful October, and this first week of October is delightful for you. I'll be back next week, and until I see you again, I hope you have so much fun with all of your making. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.